During a visit to the palace, Camilla's son's trunk was opened, and what happened next stunned everyone in the palace. Camilla shares a close relationship with her children. Tom and his sister, Laura Lopes, chose to focus on their lives and careers, staying away from royal duties. They never became working royals, and Camilla has worked hard to keep that separation. However, as Camilla took on more royal responsibilities, her children started to attract more attention, and palace security became more cautious, especially when Tom visited. Even though he wasn't a royal, his connection to Camilla gave him some access, which meant security checked things like his car plates more carefully. One morning, Camilla followed her routine in the small drawing room, reviewing papers and frequently calling Tom or Laura. These quick chats, usually less than 10 minutes long, kept her feeling like a regular mom and grandmother despite her busy life. On this day, Tom arrived earlier than expected without informing her. He is a well-known food critic and author who is not keen on royal affairs, but being the queen consort's son puts him in the spotlight. He parked his black car at the private entrance and planned to catch up with his mom before a book meeting. Inside the palace, it was warm and welcoming. Tom greeted Camilla with a big smile and sat down across from her. He casually talked about his new cookbook and recipes he had tried, while Camilla listened eagerly, enjoying the break from her busy schedule. Then things took an unusual turn. Sergeant Whitmore, a guard with over 10 years of experience, noticed something strange about Tom's car. It wasn't his usual vehicle and lacked proper clearance. He saw that the trunk seemed heavier than usual. Whitmore radioed another guard, and they quietly checked the car without creating a scene. Staff in the courtyard sensed something was off as word spread. Meanwhile, Tom shares a funny story about a chef in Paris who is fully engaged with Camilla, who is laughing along. They had no idea of the situation developing outside. Whitmore decided to conduct a routine check. He tapped on the window and pointed toward the trunk, attracting attention from the palace staff. He leaned toward Tom and said softly, "Sir, the guard needs you by the car." Tom looked confused. "Is there a problem?" Camilla's expression changed, and she felt concerned. She knew about strict security, but involving her son was unexpected. "What is this about?" she asked, her tone sharper. Tom got up and walked outside. Whitmore stood by the car with another guard. "Is something wrong?" Tom asked, showing signs of irritation. "Just a standard check, sir," Whitmore replied calmly. "The trunk looks heavier than usual. We need to see what's inside." Tom sighed and rubbed his forehead. He disliked this part of royal life: the suspicion, the constant checks, and feeling more like an outsider than family. "Fine, go ahead," he muttered, annoyed. When the guard opened the trunk, the atmosphere changed instantly. Inside was a big metal box, locked tight with a combination. It looked heavy and scratched from travel, like it held very private things. "What's this, sir?" Whitmore asked, now sounding more serious. "It's personal. Just papers and books. Nothing dangerous." Whitmore remained firm. Rules are rules, and locked boxes must be checked. "We'll need to take a look." Tom hesitated, clearly unhappy. "I'd rather you didn't. These are private things. Very private." The back and forth went on long enough for Camilla to come outside. She walked into the courtyard, looking both irritated and concerned. "What's happening here?" Whitmore bowed briefly. "Your Majesty, there's a locked case in the car. We need to check it for safety." Camilla looked at her son, noticing the strange scene. Palace staff began to notice and whisper. They couldn't hear everything, but seeing the queen consort's son beside guards with a locked box was unusual. At that moment, another car drove into the courtyard, and Prince William stepped out. William's arrival changed everything. He had come to talk to Camilla about an upcoming event, but stopped when he saw the scene: guards, his stepmother, her son Tom, and the suspicious locked box. "What's going on?" William asked as he walked over. The guards quickly updated him: an odd license plate, a heavy trunk, and Tom's reluctance to open the box. William listened closely, taking it all in, looking at the guards, Tom, and then Camilla. His expression remained neutral. He acted without hesitation. The guards stepped back, allowing the future king to take charge. Camilla's frustration was evident. She didn't like William stepping in with her son, but William focused on the issue. He turned to Tom and gave a direct order. Tom tensed up, shifting to a defensive position. He was protective and made it clear he wouldn't easily hand over the key to the box. William remained calm and firm. On royal grounds, security rules took priority over privacy. If there was nothing suspicious, Tom needed to prove it. William's response ended the argument. The guard stayed back, watching as he took the key from Whitmore. The trunk creaked open with the click of the lock. When the lid lifted, What was inside silenced everyone, even the toughest staff nearby. Tom claimed knives and kitchen gear were in the car, but instead William found neatly stacked piles of handwritten pages, wrapped in tissue and tied with bands. There were also leather-bound diaries with worn edges and creased covers. At the bottom were 2 sealed envelopes in Diana's handwriting. William froze as he recognized her handwriting. He realized these were not just random notes but private royal items that should have been kept secure. Tom looked uneasy and didn't explain how Diana's belongings ended up in his car. His silence made the situation feel heavier. The guards exchanged worried glances. They understood this was bigger than just a strange box. William carefully picked up one diary, knowing it belonged to his mother. The weight of the moment hit him hard. Tom sighed, rubbing his forehead in frustration. William froze, realizing these were precious family items, not random notes. Tom remained silent, looking at the ground. This made William uneasy. He thought these diaries had not shown up by accident. Someone had hidden them away. William glanced at Camilla. She had a blank expression while others looked shocked. Her calmness made William suspicious. He slowly closed the box. The moment felt heavy with meaning. This discovery was important, not just for what it contained, but for what it suggested. If Diana's private diaries and letters were stolen from royal vaults, where they should have been safe, what else could be missing? And how did these personal items end up with Tom Parker Bowles? William clearly ordered the box to be secured immediately. There would be no copies, no touching, and no questions. Whitmore called the guards to move the trunk to William's car. Tom looked up, his face tense, but he stayed silent. He seemed caught between wanting to speak out and accepting responsibility. With the trunk loaded and the door slamming shut, it felt like an ending, but the real trouble was beginning. This moment felt like a betrayal of his mother's memory for William. Now her belongings were with Camilla's son. Later at Kensington Palace, William brought the trunk to a private room. He locked it in a safe and sent his staff away, needing to be alone. He slowly opened the trunk and pulled out the first letters. What he read froze him. They were from 1995, a difficult time for his mom. The letters revealed her truth. Diana wrote about being followed by strangers, having her calls tapped, and feeling constantly set up. She mentioned Charles acting distantly, and how Camilla made her feel left out in her own marriage. Diana wrote about lonely nights, crying in private. Then, William found a diary entry from months before her death. It frightened him. She talked about meetings that weren't logged, named some people, hinted at others, and expressed her fear that her life was in danger. Diana wrote something haunting at the bottom of one letter. "If anything happens to me, it will not be an accident." William leaned back, stunned. Her words hit hard. These weren't meant for history. They were pleas for help hidden from him until now. As night fell, Tom sat alone at home, restless. He replayed the day's events in his mind. From his perspective, the confrontation in the courtyard had taken something from him. Though he couldn't identify what, Camilla sensed the rising trouble. Her son's actions had drawn William's attention to a past she wanted to stay buried. If William discovered how those letters and diaries got to Tom, it would raise significant questions. How did they leave the vaults? Who stole them? How did they end up with Tom Parker Bowles? William was already thinking about this. He couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of a bigger problem. He sensed that someone inside the palace had taken what should have been protected. The trunk didn't just reveal old papers, it uncovered a truth too important to ignore. Someone in the palace had stolen from Diana's legacy. With this knowledge out in the open, William had started something significant that even Camilla, the queen consort, couldn't escape. William barely slept. His desk lamp glowed until dawn, casting shadows over the letters and diaries before him. Each page added weight to his burden. By morning, exhaustion showed on his face, and he stepped away only when the first light hit the palace grounds. He sealed the safe, locking the box away, and then headed to his private sitting room, where aides waited. Although news of the previous day's discovery had yet to reach the public, gossip was already spreading inside Kensington, Clarence House, and Buckingham Palace. The first fallout hit quickly. Security rules demanded a report for any suspicious findings on the grounds. The guards who'd flagged Tom's car had already noted it, and those notes were now in William's hands. What started as family drama was now official and ripe for leaks. At 8 a.m., William called Sir Clive Alderton, his dad's secretary. William told him that the stolen diaries and letters were royal property, and they needed to follow the rules. Clive asked if William wanted to handle the situation quietly or officially. William chose both, knowing that a cover-up would make things worse. By mid-morning, a small team was formed, including palace lawyers who dealt with past issues. They pointed out the potential legal risks that could harm the monarchy's reputation. William called his father, King Charles, who was preparing for an event. Charles listened carefully but did not give much advice. He told William to act firmly without letting the issue damage the crown. Meanwhile, Camilla was worried. She spoke with her private secretary to protect her son Tom, telling him not to talk about the incident. William's team debated contacting the police or quietly storing the documents in the archives. He rejected both choices, recalling that keeping secrets had backfired before. Later, he decided to have Tom questioned by royal legal staff instead of the police. During the meeting, Tom admitted he had the trunk but wouldn't say how. His vague answers raised more questions. By evening, the report was on William's desk. That night, William faced a difficult choice: push for answers and risk legal issues, or keep it within the family. When Kate came in, she asked what he would do. He said ignoring the problem would hurt the crown, but pushing too hard would hurt their family. As journalists began investigating, William knew the story would not stay hidden for long. The palace went into crisis mode, preparing statements and increasing security around Kensington to prevent leaks. Camilla felt overwhelmed at a dinner with King Charles days later. She expressed her frustrations about the situation. William now faced three risky options: hide the issue, expose Tom, or share some details to show transparency. Each option carried risks, and pressure grew for him to allow an investigation to find out how the documents were taken.